What's good, Elevators? It's your boy Elevation here with another episode of the JBP Elevated, where we speak on the Joe Budden podcast and all of his co-hosts on and off the pod. Ice was talking his big-ish. I ain't even mad at him. I was like, yeah, Ice, defend yourself. I came here at a time you were cratering and didn't know what the hell to do. And I had to give him credit for that. But it made me want to go back and research, at least analytically through YouTube, what he actually did for Joe. And the timeline chronologically, because we always just gloss over it. So I went back. And of course, we all know 437 is the episode that Joe fired Rory. Ice and Savon were there for 438. And I believe just 438. And that one's not on YouTube anymore because, let's be honest, it was just a bad episode. Everybody was nervous. Joe didn't know what he was doing because he thought his shit was about to implode, and Savon and Ice were just being the stand-ins. Ish wasn't there, though. Ish came later. So Ice does have truth to his statement. But I looked at the numbers, and this was at a time where people were anticipating Rory and Maul returning or not knowing if they were going to return. So they would have viewed these episodes for this reason. But then Ice and Ish came, and you can see through the thumbnail, Joe didn't have any faith in them. They were nobodies in Joe's eyes. He was using his own picture, or he was using his picture with the famous person topic, whatever he was about to speak on in that episode. Then eventually he gets faith in them, and he starts putting them in the thumbnails. They change the backdrop in Park's basement, and they start averaging 210, 220,000 views. So I'm like, salute. They found their groove. But the main metric that stood out to me that possibly made Joe like, you know what, this is enough, was seeing Kevin Samuels do 7 million views. And I remember when it first came out, it was at like 5 million when it first came out. And then seeing the metrics crater back down, and then when they get more guests, it would only be at 400k, 500k. So he already knew he needed to step it up. Melissa Ford came on episode 582. So this is around 100 episodes, 150 episodes in. Joe knew he was going to have to add somebody. He was going to have to add multiple people. He was going to have to get people that have a brand already, that have a name. So Melissa Ford came on, she killed it. And then Flip came on not too much longer later. But when Flip came on, those numbers skyrocketed. They skyrocketed. So in Flip's head, and in reality, let's be honest, I did bring a whole bunch of value over here. And then as we scroll more through the episodes Flip and Melissa are on, you see the average go from 210 to 220 to 400,000 views. They were getting episodes with 500, 600, 700,000 views with no guest. Damn, that's a lot of value, dog. And then Flip was a team player early on, so he had his own show. Even though Joe was included on it, that show showed Joe, oh shit, I need to get this network back in order. Because they were getting 200 to 300,000 views, just the two of them. Well, 3 if you include Parks, and of course they had a bunch of guests, but it was different guests every time, or different entertainers or whatever, whoever they brought up. It was different people every time. But it was just the 3 of them pulling in the same amount of views that he was getting on his podcast. So that right there let Joe know Flip is immensely valuable. And as a direct result of that, Flip knew the same sentiment Joe felt. He showed it to Flip. So Flip took advantage of it, and that's when everything started going downhill. Enough to the point where other people, other castmates, Melissa, Ice, Ish, started noticing things that Flip was able to get away with, and they wondered why. Guys, y'all just go to the analytics and look. And then if Flip wouldn't have lost his not cojones, those are balls. If he wouldn't have lost his marbles, he would have still had that shit popping on Joe's brand. But he saw through the blinds. Joe's going to have me do this to the point where I could replace the pod, and he won't have to do this shit anymore. He's just going to be getting paid off of my likeness. which is still happening. And unfortunately, he's looking at it as a check, and he's trying to sabotage the business. Well, he's doing that by not being his animated self. So Joe sees it through the analytics. Parks sees it through the analytics. They are at a standstill. I keep saying alpha male this, alpha male that, but I only spoke on Flip's channel and Joe's channel, so they're peers in that respect. They're both over 1 million on YouTube. And to me, YouTube is the hardest to get monetized on. So, and build a fan base on. So shout out to everybody that's building on YouTube, because it's the hardest. So I'm looking at them as peers in that light, not realizing, oh, Joe has the analytics, and Flip does too. He always speaks on the analytics. I got the numbers. What do you think he's talking about? Not YouTube. That's just the numbers that I can see. What happens if you double the metrics on YouTube? I see Joe has a Facebook page now. Notice Joe has stopped talking shit about Facebook. Park has stopped talking shit about Facebook. They used to talk shit about Facebook all the time. No one uses Facebook. It's for old people. Quick side note, guys, old people are the ones that spend the money. They advertise a bunch to children because the children are the ones that tell the adults. And because they're their kids, the adults are more willing to spend the money on them. But let's be clear, the adults have the bread. So if you're able to cater to adults and old people, that's where you want to go. So they're building on Facebook now. And you know who's leading that charge? Mark Lamont Hill. So Mark, you want to get on top of that because they're using your likeness to get to all the older people now. But Flip realized all the metrics and all the numbers, and I'm looking at the YouTube numbers. Flip probably has all the Apple numbers, all the Spotify numbers, all the audio numbers. So in his head, I don't need to do this. And then it makes it even worse when Joe misses episodes and Flip is the one that's leading the charge and he's the A-Mite. So this is a way bigger fight than we're giving credit to, because the person who knows that more than Flip is Joe. Everybody keeps asking, why hasn't Joe gotten rid of Flip? And don't let there be any truth to this rumor that, well, let me not say a rumor. It was a speculation made by one of us in the community. Shout out to David and myself, because we've both said this. But what happens when Joe has to pick and he's given an ultimatum, Mel and Flip, and everybody's wondering, why is Flip still here? Why hasn't Flip been fired? Flip is the sauce. And now that Flip and Mark are getting into it, we can go look at these numbers even more and see when Mark came in, his impact wasn't the same as Flip's. I'm telling you, Mark for Joe is to get the older demographic. Joe himself isn't trying to get the older demographic from him, but he wants his network and his show to grab the older demographic, and he knows Mark is great for that. He's a great segue, and clearly he has been. All the intellectuals came out from Mark. Flip is the X factor. This month of him going on vacation is going to be a huge month. And I wish I knew which episodes Flip missed last year when he got suspended. I wish I did, so I could check those metrics too. There's a reason that Flip came back, because I told y'all then, and I'm telling y'all now, Flip was supposed to be fired. But Joe already knows he brings too much to the table. So what happens if Flip does leave? And I'm seeing the metrics that Mona has brought, which in my head, damn, Melissa really is expendable now, because they were averaging 400,000 views. And that's being lenient. It was really like 350, 360. And Mona's first episode is already at 380 in 4 or 5 days. First episode, she's already one of them. Second episode is already at 300,000. That's not a good sign. And this is happening when I have inside turmoil going on that nobody knows about. Because once again, Joe and Mark are having a subtle clash. Flip and Joe are having a huge clash behind the scenes. Mark and Flip are about to have a clash. And the person that's shining, salute to this nigga because I'm actually proud of him, is Imani. Because he's being consistent. But I started with Ice and I ended with Ice. Shout out to you, Ice, for being a good man. Because that's clearly the reason you're still on here. Don't let Joe turn on you. Don't let Joe turn on you. And I'm not saying you're going to be a failure outside of this, but I'd be curious to see what you do in the entertainment industry if Joe said you can no longer work here. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Y'all let me know, who do you think has the most value? Because I posed the question in the polls like probably a week ago, and Mark kicked everybody's ass resoundingly, 60-something%. But the analytics beg to differ. They're saying it's Flip. So y'all let me know who y'all think the most impactful was. Y'all let me know who Joe can afford to lose the least in the comments. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe to the page if you haven't. If you have, you already know how we rocking. You already know what it is over here. Go hit that Patreon. Your boy dropped and uploaded videos over there too. I made a video on the therapy point that Joe made yesterday. Pretty poignant points, but y'all let me know in the comment section either way. I'll see y'all a little later today. Peace.